cross-company sales. Now, in this scenario, we talk about growing companies acquiring other companies, and when they do so, they want to establish those buy-sell relationships between wholesale and retail entities, for example. So in this case, we have a buying company. In my example, this is going to be Services East. So Services East is going to create a purchase order. Once approved, we're going to create and push that purchase order information over to the selling company to generate a sales order systematically. From there, we're going to manage that sales order, and we're going to create a shipment, and we're going to confirm the shipment. Now, once confirmed, we're actually going to push that information back over as a goods receipt into the buying company. From there, the buying company can create an invoice associated with these transactions. And then ultimately, the selling company will have the ability to generate a sales invoice as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that within Acumatica. And before I do so, I want to show you the shipping clerk dashboard, because this is where that transaction is going to end up. So at this point, I'm currently logged in as Products Wholesale. And on the shipping clerk dashboard, you'll see that I do not have a transaction from Services East. So let's go ahead and take a look at Services East. So I'm going to log in. All right, very easy to do. All right, and then I'm going to call up the particular purchase order that I want to work with. So it's purchase order number 1481. All right, love my universal search. Okay, so let's take a look at the purchase order. You can see it's normal purchase order number 1481. It's the vendor is Products Wholesale, which is the related company that we see here. All right. We can also see that it's for the Acer laptop, and it's for 2 units at $250 per, or a total amount of $500. Now, critical to the success of this exercise, folks, is to make sure that you're using the warehouse that's associated with the Services East location. In this case, it's the VA, or Virginia Wholesale Services East warehouse. Okay, well, in that normal fashion, I would remove the hold and approve this transaction. Once this purchase order has been approved, I can go to Actions, and from here, I can actually generate the sales order. Now, before we do it, I just want to reinforce, it's purchase order 1481, Acer laptop, quantity of 2 for $500. So let's go ahead and generate the sales order. So you'll see that quickly. All right, I'm going to log back into Products Wholesale. And as I mentioned, if I go back onto my favorites and go to the shipping clerk dashboard, you will see there's the Services East sales order that we just created. So that quickly, it's amazing really how quick we can push these transactions over to each, back and forth to each entity. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill back on that sales order number 6040 and look, see how it brought the information over? This was the purchase order that was generated over in Services East. So when we systematically bring that information over into Acumatica, or I should say into Products East, because it's already in Acumatica, that information is going to flow with it. We see the 2 units. Okay. Now, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to manage the shipment. So this is standard Acumatica functionality. We would create the shipment. All right. And then once we've gone out, we've picked the product, we put it in a box, we've shipped it off, we would then confirm the shipment. So once I've confirmed the shipment, the next thing I want to do is I want to let Services East know that that's on its way. So what I'm going to do is underneath Actions, I can choose Generate PO Receipt. Again, that quickly, that transaction actually already exists in Services East. Now, before I do that, and I don't want to log back and forth too many times, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and prepare the invoice here. And you'll see that it's with Services East, all right, which is my customer. And we're going to go ahead and release that transaction. And again, I love me some debits and credits. So I'm going to go on the Financials tab. And if I look, you can see the general ledger transaction that was generated, as you would suspect, accounts receivable related company for $500 in revenue for $500. That's the AR transaction. I can also call up the inventory transaction and see what's happening there. It's again for 2 Acer laptops, and now we're going to relieve inventory of $500 and recognize that against cost of goods sold. Okay. If I go back into Services East, and again, we're going to go look at the purchase goods receipt. All right, and purchase receipts. All right, so I have a balanced transaction there, so let's go take a look at that. So again, this is the transaction that was pushed over from Products Wholesale very quickly. Now, granted, I did the additional processing, but if I'd logged into Services East, it would have been available straight away. All right, so here it is. Okay, so from here, I can release the transaction, And from here, if I want, I can continue. I'm then going to generate the AP transaction. So underneath favorites, I have an item here called generate intercompany transactions, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and process this. And again, through our scheduling tools, folks, we can actually have scheduled to have, most of these processes run automatically without even having to touch them. So if I go into bills and adjustments, you'll see that I have a transaction on hold for $500 representing the purchase of those two items, and you will recognize the vendor products wholesale. At this point, I can go ahead and remove. I can release. Again, release, post to AP, post to AR, post to inventory, update along the way. Everything went well. Go to financial details. I can drill back. Now, on the buy side, you would suspect, I would see there's the payable related company being credited for $500 and the inventory purchase, inventory purchase accrual. And the inventory transaction, if we call that up, you'll see that inventory is being increased and the purchase accrual is being cleared. All right, so let's go back into products wholesale. And again, that's very nice functionality, allows you to manage those inventory items very quickly.